Ciao Bella, welcome to Belluncinetto. I'm Christina and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. If you're new, welcome in. If you're returning, welcome back. No matter how long you've been here, I always appreciate your time. We are here to do my monthly whips, foes, and FAQs video. I don't have a ton of, I said FAQs, I don't do that anymore, whips and foes. I don't have a ton of finished objects to show you. That's the FOs. I did make several things to donate to um, a pet rescue. I made a bunch of like cotton towels, but I was just cranking those out so fast that I did not even get a picture of the stack that I made. I did use a lot of my cotton though. So I have, this is my cotton cabinet, and I was just grabbing things because there's things that I have one of or something like that, or colors that I don't particularly care for. Um, like in the sugar and cream cotton. And I made it out of the sturdy kitchen cotton because they're going to be washing these. They're going to be using these a lot. So I just made simple half double crochets, um, basic, like your dish towel size. Um, and that's what I used a lot of this month as far as my monthly totals for Craft Yourself Free. If you don't know what Craft Yourself Free is, Sam over at Manfella Makes and I decided to start that this year to uh, give ourselves a little bit more freedom in what we're doing for our totals of all the things that we do. So I'm not just going to be including yarn in my monthly totals. I have puzzles, I have books. Um, I've done some other crafts. So I also started a series called Let's Be Creative, where I started doing some of the craft kits that I've gotten from um, last year's Happy Mail Advent project with Hookin' and Stitchin' Island Style Antoinette and Christine at Christina's Crocheting. So I have did some of those this month, and then all the books that I've read. I don't know if I said books already, but so there's lots of things that go into the Craft Yourself Free um, piece here. I also had my daughter's birthday party, which was a whole nother set of crafts. So we'll go into that as well. Um, but I did want to talk first and foremost about the yarn because that's why you're here. So I did about, I think, 22 towels. And I literally it just cranked them out as fast as I could. Nothing special, nothing fancy as far as the stitches. I literally followed a free pattern that I found online, and because they just needed something to help with all of the mess that animals make, right? And sometimes they find animals in not the best condition. Sometimes they're sick, sometimes they're whatever. So I just, I don't sew well. So for me to sew something, it would have to be sewn by hand. So I can't make like dog beds or anything like that. But I can make towels. I can make washcloths. I can make those kinds of things. So I figured that would be the best way that I could contribute. I had originally intended that cotton to go towards a craft fair where I was going to make like face scrubbies and things like that to sell. But I didn't get the opportunity to do that. Um, And then when this came along, I was like, I have all this cotton sitting here. I need to just use it. I love working with cotton. It's one of my favorite fibers to work with. So it was really, really fun to do that, and knowing that they're going to be used very well. That's also another reason why I did some of the simpler stitches. I didn't want to do popcorn stitches or anything like that where I knew it would eat up more yarn, but it wouldn't hold up in the long run. So those tight half double crochets, um, and depending on which hook size I was using, the double crochets, because I do crochet really tightly, they're going to stand the test of time a little bit better and not fall apart over time than some of the other stitches when you're constantly scrubbing an animal or washing something up. And I mean, they're going to be using chemicals and things like that, so they're not going to stay pretty and fancy for long, right? Um, so, sorry I don't have those to show you, but I did, like I said, crank those out. And then, if you're in the Facebook group, you know that I finally put some love into the waffle blanket. So I have that here. This bag is a Rita bag. Was sent to me by the lovely Lena's Designs Rita. So this is the waffle stitch blanket that I've been working on. It was supposed to be originally the wavy waffle stitch blanket by Fiber Spider. That didn't turn out so well because I put it down and then I messed it up and had to. I've unraveled this blanket so many times. So by the third time that I needed to unravel it, because I set it down, it's a lot to work on. I took on a lot for this project, so I have quite a bit left to do. None of this will count towards my totals because before I had to unravel it, I had already counted the yarn in totals previously, so I'm not going to count that unless I start. I have 3 skeins of yarn in here that I have not counted because I never finished them. So if I get around to putting those into the blanket, I will add those. But until then, I still have a massive ball of yarn. Let me get this out. I have a massive ball of yarn that I unraveled that I had already worked on. And this isn't even the first one that I've done. The first ball. This is like the third one. This blanket was huge and I've undone it multiple times. So this is what I'm still working with as far as yarn goes. And the other skeins are in here. They're still in here. But I'm still doing this. So all of this still does not count in my total. Because I've already counted it. Because I was already done with it. So it doesn't count. But I put like 6 rows and I didn't put a stitch marker. But I've done like 6 more rows on the blanket for this. And I think it looks amazing. It is for my daughter. She sleeps with a weighted blanket, and I thought this would be an interesting way to give her that feeling without the big bulkiness of the weighted blanket that she uses, because it's going to be summer and it's going to be hot. And yes, this is an acrylic blanket, but it's not as thick or as heavy as the other blanket that she has, so I'm really hoping that it'll work for her. But this yarn is Caron Kindness, which they don't make anymore, in the colorway Tomato, Sunshine, and I don't know what the other one is. Some kind of sea foam, I think. Sea foam. But I am holding 3 together, and I'm using a 8mm Clover Amour hook for this. So I did work on it finally, yay! And then I have my other projects down here. I'm really trying to get this in here because it's so big. It's so big. The ball of yarn is right there, and then the rest of the yarn that I was using the 3 skeins, and then I needed to stop because I messed up. They're down here at the bottom. So I do still have more of this Caron Kindness yarn. I don't know that I will use it because I had several of them. I won it in a raffle, and it was like, I don't know, 30 skeins of yarn or something astronomical. I still have lots of it down there. It's one of the reasons why I was doing three strands at once, to kind of use up the yarn, because I have a lot of it and it's not the softest. It says Caron Kindness, but it's not super kind to my hands. It doesn't hurt my hands. It's just not comfortable long term. So maybe washing it or whatever would help, but I'm not going to wash it before I crochet with it. So anyway, that's that one. I will be putting more into that hopefully uh, before school's out. See what happens. Then I have this bag, also a Rita bag. This is a special fabric design. Um, this is the Stag and the Serpent crochet-a-long. This was chapters 1 and 2, which I've already shown you. And then I did finish chapter 3, which I showed you already also, but I have started chapter 4. So Kay and I decided, because she has been super, super busy with an amazing project that she gets to be a part of. Well, not really get to be a part of. She's like doing it all. I am so stinking excited for her. Uh, but because chapter 4 is the rest of the Stag, there's not an option. You finish the Stag. There's a story, but you don't. There's not like, it's not going to change the pattern at all. So it still moves the story along, but it doesn't change the pattern. So I started chapter 4. I'm not very far in. I'm only like 4. Yeah, I'm 4 rows in to chapter 4. This yellow stitch marker is where chapter 4 starts. So I'm not very far in. I have had to undo the rows a couple of times because we're starting to get into like the neck part. You can see on this side, and I'm looking at my computer screen, so if I'm not looking at you, I'm trying to make sure that you can see what I'm showing you. So here we're starting to get into the neck part of the Stag. So this is my chapter 3, and then starting chapter 4. So all of this below this greenish yellow highlighter stitch marker, below this is chapter 3, and then just this top part here, this itty bitty part right here, is chapter 4. The cal has long been over. It was only a couple of, it wasn't a couple, it was like 10-ish weeks from like October-ish to December. I knew that I wasn't going to get it done in time to do it along with everyone else, which is completely fine. I was not going to put that kind of pressure on myself. But it is coming along. So Kay and I are working on chapter 4 separately, but keeping each other like aware of what we're doing. And then once we get to chapter 5, because there's 9 chapters, once we get to chapter 5, where we have to go back, I think we go back to this part, I think, because there's more that goes on to this part. So this was chapters 1 and 2, which I absolutely love this piece. I think that the colors played out so beautifully. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like this too, but this with the silver, just, oh, it makes me so happy. It is a little bit rumpled up because it's been sitting in the bag, and then I take it out of the bag to work on this, and then it just gets tossed around, but that's that piece. So for this, I am using this is Lagoon, Yarnsmiths Lagoon DK. So I'm using a different shade in this than I did in the other one. The one that I'm using in the Stag has yellow in it, whereas the one that I was using in chapters 1 and 2 didn't have any yellow in it. So this is my hook inside the color, that the 2 rows that I just finished. And then the blue is Hayfield bonus glitter. So I have more of that in here. So let's see. No, that's this one. Okay, I must have more upstairs. The other Yarnsmith that I have. The one that I'm using in the stag is shade 2J080. And then the one that I used in chapters 1 and 2, I have upstairs in a different bag. I took it out because I was like, I don't know that I need it right now. So I have this if I need it. I didn't need another silver one for chapters 1 and 2, but I do have another silver. And then when it comes time to do the serpent, which we haven't started yet, I'm going to use the purple Hayfield bonus glitter. All of these are DK yarns. And they all came either through Happy Mail or my own purchases from Wool Warehouse. I don't know if I'm going to use this shade or the other shade for the serpent. I haven't decided yet, but because they both have purple in them, and there are times where like the blue in this kind of gets lost, so I'm worried that the purple might get lost. I don't know. We'll see. But both of them have purple in it, so I really don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm loving the way that this is coming out. I am using a 4mm Clover Amore hook for this. So I have put a little bit of love into this. Not a whole lot. I just started last week on chapter 4 because the bulk of April was a super secret project, which I still can't tell you about. Soon, hopefully you'll get to learn about it soon. I really, really hope that you get to learn about it soon. But I cannot tell you anything about it yet. We'll see. And then the pillow for Sam with the Manfella Mal's collaboration that I'm doing. So that took a lot of my April time. And then for May, it has been lots of crafting, but not necessarily a lot of crocheting. Especially because my daughter's birthday and all of that took a lot of my time. So before we go into that, I did also pick up the fairy dust cowl, and I finished a section. I finished a section. So I finished the daisies, the first set of daisies. Now I did not pay attention, I guess, when Sam did her video, or pay attention to the pattern, that it actually switched the background and the mane. So I thought that the purple color that I used was going to be the daisies and not the green, and the green was going to be the background. The daisies would be sitting in grass. So, and this section is really, really hard to see the pattern as it comes to light. Like some of the other ones, I could see the pattern as it was unfolding. I could guess where things were going to go. I could do all of that, right? But for the daisies, I could not. I couldn't see it at all. So when it comes to the next set of daisies, it does actually follow the regular pattern where the background color would be the color that I originally thought it was going to be. But for me, it's not going to be green anymore. So it's going to be blue and gray. So I think I might reverse it on that too, just to make them stick out, because I'm going to be using a blue yarn like this one. Maybe. I haven't decided. But then I have a gray that I know for a fact I'm going to use the gray, not the green. I use the green because there was green in this. So the next one that I'm using is going to be on top of the fairies, and the fairies don't have any green. They have blue. And as I go up, the color scheme that I'm going to be using is blue. So I am gonna be using the gray, but there is purple in, there's purple in the fairies, and then there's purple in the next color that I'm gonna use, the next Hayfield Spirit that I'm gonna use. There is blue, because it's blue, purple, and gray. So I'm debating on whether or not I should use the purple background and use the gray for the flowers. Because I still have plenty. Like, this didn't take as much yarn. I pulled out a bunch of yarn thinking I was going to need a ton of yarn. And so far, I have not used a whole skein except for in this part. Because the leaves, so the leaves were supposed to be their own section. And then the mushroom houses. But I really liked how all of the fall colors went together. So I used a whole skein of this Hayfield Spirit in the two sections. But in the daisies, I did not use a whole skein of anything. So I might go back and use the purple again as the background so it kind of mirrors, but then make the daisies gray. But when I was talking to Sam about it, I was like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I messed up. And she was like, are you angry enough to frog it? And I was like, absolutely effing not. Not frogging all that. I just started on this again. I am not. And she was like, happy accident then. And I was like, I don't know about happy, but I'm leaving it because I'm not frogging this whole thing. But I mean, it works. It's just not what I wanted. But my daughter doesn't care. She loves it anyway. So then I've actually started, you guys, on the fairies. So I'm going to fold it in half because this was a really difficult part for me to understand, because it says you go backwards once you reach, because it gets you to the center. And so this is my center stitch here. And you do the center stitch once and then you follow the pattern literally backwards. I assumed that it didn't mean literally because there are parts that are in parentheses, and I was like, do I do it literally backwards or do I still do the same stitch but just in reverse order? Like if it says one back loop and one front, do I still do one back and one front and then go to the next, or do one front and one back? What am I supposed to do? And so I messaged Sam and she helped me understand, which was fantastic of her. But you can start to see them take shape, which I think is just absolutely cool. So like over here, this is a foot, right? And then you have the whole dress. And again, I'm looking at my screen so that I can make sure that I'm pointing to the right thing. So you have the whole dress here. This whole section is the dress. And then when you turn it, right, you have the other foot. And because the fairies are sitting back to back. So this is the dress, and then the other foot is over here, right? So I don't think I'll be able to get it all in screen. But you can see the dresses sitting back to back. So there's a dress here, and then let me just put my hands. So there's one here, and then there's one here, right? And you can see them sitting back to back. And then the feet are here, right? Or no, they're facing each other. They're not sitting back to back. They're facing each other. I'm lying. They're facing each other because there's a flower in the middle. So they're facing each other. So here's their feet, and then the dresses on the sides. They're not sitting back to back, right? But so their feet are here. And my daughter is so excited to see these fairies come to life on this blanket because this is my daughter all day long. These colors are her. They are not me. Well, the black maybe, but they are not me. But I like the design on the back too. So like you can see how the feet are showing up in the black on the back. I think that's so pretty, right? And then the design across the back of it, you can still see it. Not as clear, right? But you can still see it. So I like it. I'm so excited that I put more work into it. It wasn't hard to pick back up. It was just once I got to the fairies, it was, what in the world do I do when we get to the end? So I get to the middle. And I count my stitches. So I have every 5. So I've done 5, 10, 15. I've done 15 rows because I take them off. Let me scoot back up. I take them off. So I would put, so this is 10, then I would have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? And then I take these off once I hit the 5 mark. And then I'll do 16, 17, 18, 19. And then when I hit 20, I take the 4 off in the middle. Because with all of these projects being so labor intensive, I'm not going to remember. Now, the Waffle Stitch Blanket, I don't care how many rows I have. I just care that it doesn't grow wonky on the sides. So I keep the stitch markers on the sides so that I know where I am. And I keep folding it now to make sure that it's even and not going weird. This, I have to keep count. The stag, I have to keep count because with the stag and the serpent, it's mosaic, but it's a modified mosaic in that I don't have the tassels. You notice there's not tassels on the end. So there's not all these like bits on the end of it where there's stuff everywhere. Because you do the color forward and then you do the color again backward and then change color to the background or whichever color you're switching to. Do it forward and then do it backward so that you're keeping, I'm just pulling the colors up each time. And there is still like a single crochet here where you're making like a border before the design starts, but it's not with all of the edges. Like there's not going to be an envelope border on that one. Whereas here I'm going to have to go back and do the envelope border, as you can see, with all of the fringe. But I do have my pattern printed out. So for the background colors, so the red, the purple, and then of course the daisies, so the green, and then the black, I'm using Red Heart Hygge Charm. So this is the black that I'm using for the fairies. But I've used the Hygge Charm all the way through. And I have other colors actually sitting over here. So I'm going to use the teal and the gray of the Hygge Charm as it comes closer to the next steps. So after this, I still have the fairies, which is in 2 parts. I'm not even halfway done. So I have 2 parts of the fairies plus more daisies, then butterflies, wands, and then I'm going to put this back at the top, but I haven't decided if I'm going to do it in this red color or not. I did the red because I was doing the purple and this Harvest Hayfield Spirit, but I don't know if I might keep the white X's or crosses or whatever, sparkles, whatever they're called, and then do a different color background at the top. I don't know. I might use the teal or the gray. I have no idea, honestly, what I'm going to do there. But you'll see these again at the top of the blanket. And this was not part of the original pattern. This is the practice pattern. So to practice doing mosaic. But because Sam made the blanket with this on there, I had to make the blanket with this on there because my daughter wanted the blanket to be like Sam's. Even though Sam didn't keep the blanket, Sam gifted the blanket. I told my daughter from the beginning Sam wasn't keeping the blanket and she was making it as a gift for someone. I had to make it like Sam's. So, I'm making it like Sam's. There you go. But of course I'm using colors that I have. I'm not necessarily using the colors that Sam had, because I don't have those colors. But I do have the Hayfield Spirit here, the one that I'm using for the fairies. This is shade 0408. And this was actually yarn that Sam sent to me. One of the very first Happy Mails that she sent to me were 2 of these. So these 2 actually, I bought more because I wasn't sure how much yarn I was going to need. So I still have them over there. I don't think I'm going to need them. Even though the fairies are really, really, it's the biggest part of the blanket, I think 2 of these might be enough. We'll see. I could be wrong. And then I'll be glad that I bought more. But I don't know. We'll go from there. But so these 2, because I pulled them out before my other yarn came, these 2 are the ones that Sam originally gifted to me. So they'll be going in the blanket. And then the other stuff that I have in here, this one, I have, my chair's sinking on me. Do I have the label? I have so much yarn in here. My chair is sinking, you guys. That's not it. I have, oh, here it is. James C. Brett Harmony. So I have, this is purple. It looks blue. I'm sinking. It looks blue, but it's not. It's purple. There it goes. And I have this in a blue with some orange back there, because I only put in here what I was going to use for the blanket at the time. And then when I finish the fairies, I'll switch out. I'll switch out the colors in the bag, because I was like, there's no sense in keeping everything. I don't have a bag big enough to fit all of the yarn that I'm going to need for that project, but I keep it out over there, because I know I'm going to need it at some point. So I don't want to put it back in the shelf and then not be able to find it. So I'm using this, and then I'm using, for my hook, I have the 4.5, yeah, 4.5 millimeter clover, a Moore hook, for this project. So I have put work into all of the whips that I currently have. I have not started. I have it caked up, all except for one. I still haven't caked up the 4th one yet. I have not started my Manfella Mal's project number 3 yet, although I did a video on that. So if you want to see the yarn that I'm using and all of that for that project, you can go and check that out. Let me fold this up, actually. I don't want to just stuff it back in the bag. So I did a whole video, because that's a separate collaboration. I did a whole video on that as to what yarn I'm going to use, what pattern I'm going to use, so forth and so on. So you can go and check that out, but it's still sitting over there. I still have the 4th one to cake up. I'm thinking that actually I might just start it, and then if I need to cake up the other ones, the 4th one, I will when I get there, because I'm going to do, it's in 12 sections, so I haven't decided if I'm going to do 3, because I have 4 colors, do 3 of each section in the colorway, or if I'm going to leave that off, leave the 4th one off, because it's similar to the first one, and do 4 sections in 3 colorways. That's the biggest reason why I haven't hanged that one up yet, because I think there might be enough yarn there to do 4 sections with 3 colors. And then if I need to use that 4th one as like a border, I might do that. I don't know. We'll see. But because all of these other projects are labor intensive, part of me really, really wants to start that other project so that I can have something a little bit simpler to work on. Okay, so to my daughter's birthday. So I stopped birthday parties at a certain age. I did it with my son. I'm doing it with my daughter. Uh, I stopped the whole let's invite your class, let's have a big theme, let's do a big thing. Because at some point, and it's different for every kid, but at some point they get to where they don't want to invite their whole class. They don't want to have all these people because so and so is rude to me, so and so picks on me, so and so is not my friend, they don't like what I like, we don't have anything in common. So it's more quality over quantity. When you're little, you invite your whole class. Not necessarily everybody comes, but say you have 20 kids in your class, you have a lot of people to play with, right? And as you get older, it becomes less and less about how many people are there and who is actually there so that you're having a good time with them. So that's what the rest of our birthdays are going to look like. And we'll start going to different places. Maybe we'll do experiences like short little trips, or we'll do a spa or a movie theater, or we'll do something, right? We're not going to not celebrate birthday, but we're not going to have a big, big party. So this was her last big party, right? So we had decorations and everything like that, but my daughter wanted to do very specific things. So I had these big yard games that I've had since my son was little, except for one. One I bought specifically for my daughter because it's like little witch hat ring toss, and she loves to play that when her friends come over. And so it's just a mat and like little cones, but they're shaped like witch hats, and you toss the rings. It's literally all there is to it. But I have several of these, and her last birthday party we put them all out and we did all of that. But this year she wanted to do other things as well. So some of my crafting time went to these things. So she wanted to have like a painting station. So, but she wanted specific kinds of pictures. I couldn't just like buy canvases with pictures already printed on them. No, she wanted very specific things. So a friend of mine and I spent a whole evening printing out specific pictures that she wanted and doing pencil on the back and then tracing the image, like 25 canvases. And then I had to go back afterwards and outline them all in black to give them, like, the edges. So I bought like acrylic paint markers because I figured that would be easier than doing like the acrylic paint with the water and the brushes and making a giant mess. So it was just like they were coloring them. They were basically coloring sheets, but it looked like they painted them because they were using the markers, the acrylic markers. That was phenomenal. The kids loved it. And then we also did masks. So they were just paper masks. But again, she wanted very specific things. So then I had to make those things. And then it didn't work out. So I spent all the time trying to make the masks. And they didn't work. Because she wanted kind of like the Venetian style masks. But I couldn't get it to work. So we ended up having to scrap that and just buy some like paper masks that they could color with markers, which was fine. And then she wanted to do like the find your little like gemstone or bones or whatever. You can buy them, where you can dig, crack it open and get your little whatever you're supposed to find. Again, I tried to make them. It didn't work, so then I ended up having to buy them. But again, that was crafting time that I spent trying to make these things with like plaster of Paris and the little shapes, and it didn't work. But I tried. Um, I was trying to do things, and I started in enough time. But when it got down to the end, I mean, you've got 25 canvases, 25 masks, 25 little gemstone things, and not even 25 people came, but she invited 25 people. So I wanted to make sure that if all the people who were invited came. Everyone had something. So that was a lot. But since it was her last one, I was willing to go the extra mile and do all of those things for her. But that was a ton of my crafting time. So through April and the beginning of May, and then I just wanted to sit down after that. So like I said, I've done the projects. I did the dish towels, but as far as like getting things finished, I haven't finished any of the 3 projects that have been sitting here forever. But I will. It'll happen. I don't like to let things linger. School is coming to an end, so I'm really hoping that I can just sit and crochet the day away on some days. That's really, really what I'm hoping to do. So for my totals for May, I have my craft yourself free totals here. For all of the cotton that I did, it was 1,125 yards. It's a lot of cotton, but it's a lot out of my stash, which is good. I did 2 puzzles. You will have seen one of those puzzles on Monday. The other one I filmed the same day, but it won't come out until June. So, but I finished it in May, so I put it in May's totals. And then the 25 canvases that I did, I made 5 masks before they started to fall apart, because you have to let them dry. So they started to crumble, and so when they started to crumble, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna try anymore. We're just gonna order paper masks. But I did make 5 of them, and then I had made 3 plaster of Paris molds. They dried out too much, and they just started to fall apart. So there's that. Those are the things that I did. And then I also read, I read 15 books in the month of May. I will probably finish one more before, because I'm almost done with it, but I didn't count it because I'm not finished with it when I'm recording this video. But by the time you see this video on Friday, I will have finished the book. I'm really struggling with sleep, so I read. I know I could use that time to crochet, but the light wakes my daughter up. So even though the light's not on in her room, it still wakes her up. But we're going to figure it out. Or I'll just be exhausted. Either way, things are getting done. So that is it for the month of May for my whips and foes video. Please be on the lookout for some podiversary announcements. So June is my podiversary month, and I'm hoping it's at the end of June, but I'm going to be putting out a couple of things for what I'm planning on doing. I am accepting donations if anyone would like to. I'm not requiring donations, but if you want to donate to some giveaways that I'm going to be having, the more the merrier, right? But I would need to know if it's international, like if it's a physical gift, so physical or electronic. If it is a physical gift, if it's USA only, or if it's international. And then what specifically you're wanting to donate. If you want to donate a project, if you want to donate stitch markers, if you want to donate patterns, if you whatever, right? I'm open to it, but I would need to know soon-ish. So if there's something that you want to pass along, you can message me, you can email me, and we'll get those things decided. But let me know what you've been working on. Let me know what you have finished this month. Let me know what you've started this month. Some of you really, really like to start projects and then struggle to finish them. I don't mind starting projects, but I get overwhelmed quickly. if I have a lot of things stacked around me, and like these bags are not small bags. They're big bags. So if I'm taking these projects, like I took the one blanket, I took it to work and I was working on it. That's one of the reasons why I've managed to get so much done on it, the waffle blanket. But just carrying around that bag, I was like, oh my God, this is an intense, like trying to carry that plus the things that I was supposed to be sitting in my meeting for. Um, it was heavy because it's a big blanket, but um, I have so many big projects. That's why I think if I start on the shawl that I'm gonna do, um, it'll go faster because it's not a long-term project like the rest of these are. But I don't know. The thought of starting a fourth project is like, I don't know if I can do it. But I need to do it because it's for the collaboration. But I don't know if I want to start it right now. So, but anyway, let me know what you've started. Let me know what you finished. Let me know what you are working on. Oh, and my other crafts. I did 3 crafts, the Let's Be Creative crafts. So I did my felted butterflies, I did my roses, and then there was another one that I did. Yeah. So that's more crafting that I did. um, but let me know, what have you been doing? I want to know. Please, 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 please tell me. And if there are pictures that you want to send, I can put them in my video. I do edit my videos, so I can drop pictures in, or I can share them on my posts, or you can share them in my Facebook group. If you want to join my Facebook group, the link is in my link tree, which is in the description box below. And the Facebook group is also linked below. So it's in the link tree, but it's also in just in the description box. So I'm going to quit yammering on, and I will let you all go. Until I see you again, be well, be safe, and be the change you wish to see in the world, everyone. Ciao bella!